Raven ELYSE TV.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Raven. Today I'm bringing you an affordable holiday makeup look. It's mostly using drugstore products or other inexpensive products you can get online. It is a blown out red cranberry smoky eye with winged liner and a matching red lip. Really cute for any holiday parties or anything like that. So if you want to see how I got this look, then just keep on watching. So the first thing I'm going to do is prime my skin with the Maybelline Baby Skin Primer. This is a good kind of drugstore dupe for the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer that I sometimes use. And then I'm going to prime my eyebrows with e.l.f. eyebrow gel. Super inexpensive. You can get e.l.f. at mostly any drugstore, Target, Walmart, things like that. I like to put this on first just to get my brows in the right place before I fill in my brows. So I let it dry first. So while I'm letting it dry, I'm gonna go in and color correct my hyperpigmentation and dark circles with LA Girl Pro Concealer in the color corrector orange colors and yellow colors. I mix them together because the orange by itself is too dark for my skin tone. And I'm gonna go ahead and blend that out with these new sponges that I got from e.l.f. They're kind of like beauty blenders, but super affordable, and they come in 3 sizes. It comes in a pack of 3, a big one, a medium, and a tiny one. And it's kind of a different material than the beauty blender, but it actually works pretty good. So definitely check these out if you're looking for a more affordable version of a beauty sponge to use. Going back to my brows, I'm just gonna fill them in with my Anastasia brow pomade. This is not an affordable drugstore product, but it's just the only thing I ever use on my brows. If you guys have a drugstore dupe, let me know in the comments down below. But I'm just gonna skip through the brow process because you guys have seen that a million times. It's the same thing every time. And then I'm just going to take my CoverFX concealer, which once again is not a drugstore product, but it's just my favorite thing to use for this. And I'm just going to clean up my brows same way I always do with a little brush, just to get that sharp brow going on. I also put some of that same concealer on my smile lines, and I'm just blending that out. The hyperpigmentation around my mouth is so bad these days, so I'm just doing everything I can to cover it. And then I'm moving on to foundation finally. So I'm using my L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundation. Again, holy grail product, definitely one of the best foundations in the drugstore, and I'm using it on the booty side of the e.l.f. Booty Blender, and I'm just going to dab that all over my face and blend it out. Next, I'm going to go in with a bunch of concealer. First, I'm using the Maybelline FIT Me concealer under my eye, and then for some reason I decided I needed to use my Maybelline Better Skin concealer on the rest of my under eye area. So I'm applying that and applying it up on the sides of my nose to kind of contour my nose as well. And then I'm applying that to my Cupid's bow and chin to highlight. And then for some reason I decided I needed to bring in another concealer color, which is just a different shade of my Better Skin concealer. And I'm using that to highlight my forehead area and also around my mouth. I don't remember why I thought I needed all these different concealers instead of just using one concealer for the whole thing, but you know what? It works. It's what I wanted to do that day. So now I'm blending it out with the e.l.f. sponge again and just try to blend it into my foundation as much as possible. The only thing with this matte foundation is that sometimes it's hard to layer things on top of it because it's so matte. It doesn't want to like blend together, but you just have to take your time and really blend it out. I'm also blending it up onto my eyelid as basically like an eyeshadow primer. And then I'm gonna go in with my Spun loose face powder in the translucent shade. Woo, look at that powder. And I'm going to bake my face, and I mean really bake my face with this powder. This is like a dupe for the Laura Mercier. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily a dupe, but it's something you could use instead of the Laura Mercier powder that I tend to use in my other videos. This one is super inexpensive and it's a huge jar. So this is what I'm baking with today. So for the eyes, I'm going to be using my Morphe 350 palette, which is really inexpensive, definitely considering how many shadows you get. And first, I'm just going to make sure that I set the concealer that's on my lids with powder so it's easier to blend everything on top. And then I'm going to go in with a transition shade in my crease, which is just like this light brown color that's pretty close to my skin tone. And then I'm going to go in with this orange shade in my crease. I'm basically trying to create like a sunset gradient effect, and I'm making my brush strokes really in a rainbow shape, I guess, to make like a round shape on my eye. And here you see me adding in a red color after the orange. So I'm just kind of bringing each color lower down into the crease, if that makes sense, just so it creates like a gradient. And then I'm using my fluffy brush to blend everything together to try and make it as soft as possible. Then I'm going in with this Milani shadow. It's more of a darker bronze metallic shadow, and I'm going to use this more precisely in the crease just to define the crease a little bit more and darken it up right on that crease line. So I'm keeping this pretty controlled and not bringing it up too high, and I'm just using this to darken the whole crease. Then I'm going to go in with this ColourPop color, which is honestly almost the exact same thing as the Milani color that I just used, so this is probably an unnecessary change of products, but I wanted to try this ColourPop shadow as well. So I'm using that on the outer V, and then I'm going to spray a brush with makeup setting spray to wet it so that I can get the most pigment and metallic effects out of this red color from the Morphe palette. And I'm packing on this red color all over the remaining part of my lid. I really wanted the red to show up as good as possible, so I'm really packing it on. And then I'm going to be moving on to my lower lash line. So first I'm using that darker bronze shade again on the outer corner of my lower lash line, and I'm just kind of smoking that out, but I ended up going a little too crazy with it and bringing it down really low, so I decided to just take the red shade that I used on my lid and really just completely smoke out and blow out my lower lash line. And I brought it down pretty far and pretty thick, so it looks a little bit crazy when you don't have any liner or lashes on, but once you get all that stuff on, it really ties it together, trust me. So then I decided to go into this setting powder with my triangular sponge so that I could kind of clean up the line a little bit and kind of rescue myself a little bit. And then I'm going into the Morphe palette again and getting this metallic gold shade and making my inner corner bling. So now I'm just dusting away that excess powder, and it did actually help to clean up the lines of that shadow. Next, I'm going to be doing a black winged liner, and I'm just using this Kat Von D tattoo liner, even though it's not drugstore, but it's just the only liner that I had. For a drugstore liner, I really like the Wet n Wild liner, so I will list that down below as an alternative. I was actually having a little bit of trouble getting the liner to show up as black as I wanted it over all of these red shadows, so it didn't really come out as solid as I wanted it. I probably could have done another layer, but you know, I did my best. So for mascara, I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Telescopic mascara on my top and bottom lashes. So I'm gonna go back and put on falsies, but to get back to the face, I'm going to bronze my face with this Palladio bronzer, which is actually from Sally Beauty Supply. It's just a inexpensive matte bronzer, and I'm basically bronzing up my entire face because I really needed to bring back some color into my face. And then I'm gonna go into my e.l.f. contour kit, which is kind of a little bit of a shade darker, and I'm just gonna use that to contour my cheeks a little bit more, just to add more definition to my cheek contour. And you guys know I can't do my makeup without going into my Milani bronzer as well in the shade Soleil, so I'm using that all over my whole face just to, you know, bronze up even more. And then going back into that e.l.f. contour color with a smaller brush, I'm just going to be contouring my nose. I've actually been doing my nose a little bit different recently. The contour part is pretty much the same. I still do lines down either side, and then I go underneath my nose, and then I also go across my nose. So the contour is pretty much the same, but the part that has changed is the highlight, but I will show you guys that in a second when I highlight the rest of my face. For now, I'm going into my Maybelline FIT Me powder foundation with my triangular sponge, and I'm just drawing that harsh line underneath my cheek contour just to clean it up, as well as on either side of my nose, and then I'll dust that away just to clean it up. I'm going to be using this CoverGirl blush, and it's really like a nice little soft dusty rose color, so I thought I just wanted to do something subtle since my eyes and lips are both going to be red. I didn't want to do too much. So this highlight powder is from Sally Beauty as well. It will be listed down below, but the new thing that I'm doing with my highlight is using a little drop of oil. I'm using argan oil. You can really use any oil that you feel comfortable using on your face, and I'm just dipping my brush into the oil a tiny bit before I dip into the highlighter, and it just adds that little extra moisture, creaminess to your highlighter that makes it go on so much more pigmented and just makes it bling even more. I saw this on Instagram and it just actually really works. So I do the same thing with a smaller brush for my nose, and the way that I do my nose highlight now is I basically draw it on in a straight horizontal line going all the way across the tip of my nose, and it just gives my nose like this totally different shape. Little shout out to my haters right there. And I also just do it a tiny bit on my bridge of my nose, but I don't bring it all the way down the bridge of my nose. So yeah, this strategic placement of highlight just gives my nose like a different shape that I really like. I don't know, it might be a bit much for most people because it's like very obvious, but I like it, so that's what I've been doing lately. And then I'm also going to be putting it on my Cupid's bow as well. And then I also decided to use that same highlighter on my brow bone as well. I just like the way it looks when you use the same highlighter all over your face, and I like to just drown myself in highlighter pretty much. So highlighter makes me happy, as you can see. After I've got my whole face done pretty much, I always like to go back to my brows and just draw a few extra little hair strokes in the front of my brows just to make them look more feathery in the front. So I wanted to be bold and be super festive and actually do a red lip with this red smoky eye. You could totally pair this eye look with just a nude lip if you wanted to make it a little bit more toned down, but I really wanted to just go full out and do the red lip. So first I'm just going to line my lips with my favorite lip liner, which just so happens to be a MAC lip liner in the color Spice. That's only because I didn't really have anything else in reach, but go ahead and line your lips with a red lip liner, whichever one. And then I'm gonna go in with actually two ColourPop matte lippies. So the first one that I was originally planning to use is the red shade, and it is called Lost, but I felt like it was a little too just true red, and I wanted something that was going to be a little bit darker, a little bit more on the warm side, I guess. So I went in and added a little bit of ColourPop Limbo, which is like a brown shade. So I just mixed in a little bit of Limbo just to change the shade of the red a little bit, and then I mixed that together, and that is the color that I got. So it's kind of almost like a burgundy cranberry shade. I don't know how to explain it, but I think it came out pretty good. So then, just to be even more extra, I went into that main red lid color that I used on my eyes with a flat brush, and I applied some of that red eyeshadow to the center of my lips. It gives it kind of this metallic look, and it really helps the lip color match with the eyes. Next, I'm going to apply falsies, and I'm going to use Ardell Wispies because they're my favorite lash in the whole world, and it's like the only lash I ever wear. So here you see a 3-year-old trying to put on lashes. I still suck at putting on lashes. And the final step is to set your face, of course. So I'm using this setting spray, which is from Sally Beauty. I like it because it's in an aerosol can. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That is the finished look. Once your face is set, we're all done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this look. I tried to step out of my comfort zone a little bit and be super festive for the holidays. So make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Tag me on any photos if you recreate the look. Also, don't forget to check the down bar. All the products will be listed down below. So that's everything. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.